The United. This work session, regular meeting, of the Township Council is called to order. I've already made a mistake 1 second into the meeting. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, be advised that adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the municipal complex and transmitted to the officially designated newspapers a list of dates annually indicating that this work session, regular meeting, would take place at the Franklin Township Municipal Complex at 7 p.m. on Monday, November 13th, 2017. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. If we could all stand for a Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation by Councilwoman Chanel Robinson. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
May those assembled here today enjoy the many offerings of our township. May we abide by the rules we have established, those of trust, fellowship, and ethics, and may we place service above self in our daily endeavors. And may we always test ourselves in our efforts to be sure they are the truth, good for all concerned, of benefit to mankind, and provide peace and understanding.
Madam Master Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Chase?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois? Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Councilman Onijaka? Here. Councilman Prasad?
Here.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Here.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Here.
Councilman Vasanella? Deputy Mayor Wright?
Thank you. We are now up to item number 5, commendations and proclamations. One of them is for the Meadows Foundation. I don't see anyone here to receive it, and I don't see Councilman Vasanella, who is going to give it, so we shall wait for another commendation. Mr. LaCourte, front and center, please.
Oh, I was looking for this.
Step over here, please. Whereas the utilization of volunteer services has become critical in providing needed services to our community. And whereas Robert LaCourte has contributed hundreds of hours and resources to make the Memorial Day and Veterans Day services a reality in our community. And whereas our township would like to offer special recognition to the efforts of Robert LaCourte for the continuation of the Memorial Day and Veterans Day services in our community. And now, therefore, I, Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council and citizens of the Township of Franklin, hereby recognize Robert LaCourte for his outstanding community service to this township. So as I've said many times, Mr. LaCourte and I are close friends, best friends, despite being of opposite party. But when it comes time to get things done or to do something for the town, he never shirks, although he does complain quite a bit, but he never shirks the responsibility and has always been there for us. Have anything to say, Mr. LaCourte?
I want to thank you, Mayor, council members. Thank you very much. The staff, Safi, helped me greatly this past week or a couple of weeks. The most important thing is giving back to the community, to our veterans, those that are here, those who have passed, and just to say thank you to them. And I have my 2 boys are coming in the next couple weeks, both in the Army. We're waiting for them, I think, on Friday. And I just want to thank you all again for the accommodation, and we'll continue. Thank you. Let's hope for better weather the next 2 years. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Now is the time to, he said, do I still get a banner? Wants a banner to advertise the event. Okay, we are now on to public discussion. Do I have a motion to open the meeting for public discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening the meeting for public discussion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. The meeting is open to public discussion. Anyone wishing to speak has 5 minutes. No yielding of time, no coming up more than once. Please state your name and address, and welcome. Ms. Powell.
Linda Powell, 22 Buffer Drive. First of all, I want to congratulate our incumbent council members for winning all their seats back, and Will Galtieri who will be our new council member in Ward 2. I'm sorry that my good friends, Councilwoman Robinson and Board of Education President Ed Potasnik didn't win their bids, but I know they will continue to be great assets to our community in their ongoing dedication and work. I also want to remind people who are interested in stopping the compressor station that is proposed for our township that we have a website, which is www.scrap-nessie.org, which you can check out. There's a lot of information there. And we are looking for people to help read the draft environmental impact statement. So when that comes out, which will probably be in December now, we've been able to push it back several months with all our comments to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. We would need people to help read this massive document. And you can contact Councilman Prasad, which he'll help coordinate those who are willing to volunteer. I also wanted to mention something. There's a person I know who actually I've known since she was a child. I've known her for 33 years, who does a life-sustaining treatment at home. And after social programs were cut in the state, she was going to be evicted from her home last Friday. We had run out of all options. We didn't know what to do, and it really was like a death sentence. And at the last minute, I contacted Dr. Alex Karazi, and within a few days, many phone calls and emails, he was able to raise enough money to pay off her debt and keep a roof over his head, mainly through contributions from the Muslim community, but from other community members as well. And now we will be able to, she will be able to survive and find more, hopefully, affordable housing. And this was like a miracle. And I want to thank Dr. Karazi and other community members for their generosity for basically saving the life of this person and restoring hope where all hope seemed to be lost. So thank you all.
I'd also like to point out that the Chief of Police, Larry Roberts, was very useful in that effort, just in helping us understand how the system works. And it allowed us to, or allowed Linda, I shouldn't say us, Linda did, and Alex did the work there, but allowed them to know kind of what they were up against as far as eviction. So his information while he was on vacation actually was very useful. Tibbs.
Yeah, okay. Don't have to worry about me. I'm a good guy. Johnny Tibbs, 25 Parkside. First of all, I want to congratulate Mr. Chase and Mr. Gutierrez and Omajaka and who else? And Jimmy Bastianella for their marvelous win in the election. I would like to tell you guys, get you guys quite clear, you can always depend on me, regardless of what happens during the case. I guess you know it was a rompous, ruckus election this year because of, even before I left Somerville, the leader, the guy that was leading the stuff, I had a little problem with him from the beginning. When I worked in a certain area, and I was going to get my little paycheck, and he told me he wasn't going to pay me. So I knew we was going to have a problem right then and there. So when he came down this particular part of town, there's one thing about this part of town when it comes to election time. It's structured, it's valid, it's formidable, and it's serious about the work it does. Now, the man that was in charge had he was misunderstood in terms of how we work. And he had the nerve to tell some of the people from the hood that he wasn't going to pay him, and all hell broke loose. So I was glad I got out of there, matter of fact. And it's one thing I have to tell you guys now. If you do anything to me personally, I won't do anything at all. God will take care of you. I work for God at all times, given times. So something will happen to you, your family, your pet, your dog, your cat, your relative. Something will happen to you if you do something to me. I'm putting it on warning. And I want to say that during the time of election, when the time they were working, I worked every day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because I had a plan to get out there. That's why the school board voting, and I told my people to vote 1, 2, 3. I didn't know Penasic was at the end of the line. I didn't know. You had to come and tell me. You know what I'm saying? The one thing I want to tell you guys now that I didn't get done, that's the election of Chanel Robinson. Now I'm in charge. I'm hurt because Chanel Robinson wasn't elected, but I know why. See, I had a plan. I had a letter I sent to the Courier News, and it was a dynamic letter, and they didn't print it. Okay. Then I had a plan after that letter would be printed. I had a plan, but Chanel knows about it, that I was going to cover all of Somerset County by doing one particular part of the plan. I wasn't able to do that, and that's why that little 3,000 votes I didn't get for her. But I promised her and I promised this township, the next person that runs for the freeholder, whether it be Chanel or anybody else, I guarantee you I'll give you the win next time in freeholder in Somerset County. And I want to tell you guys, thank you very much. You know I'm in charge of the hood at all times, so don't worry about that. You know, all the stuff you heard. And by the way, now you know I don't get drunk when I'm working election time. Somebody said that they got drunk. Not me. I don't do that, all right? And I thank everybody for election, and you're in good hands here in Franklin Township as long as I'm around. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tibbs. It's always good to know someone has God at his call. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one else come forward, I ask that we close the public portion of this meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I see no discussion on the item. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. It is now time for council comments. Ms. Sherman, let's start with you.
Yes, thank you. Just a few things. I had the privilege of attending the 40th anniversary luncheon of the Meadows Foundation. It's been 40 years that they've been in charge of working on the historic buildings here in Franklin Township, and I have to say, it was probably the most enthusiastic meeting that I have seen with regard to where they are versus where they had been. It's been a few years since I've been to one of their meetings, and they have quite a bit of grant money coming in. There's quite a lot of work going on in all of the houses, and it's they have rented out the barn once or twice, or the Hageman facility once or twice for events, which is something they had wanted to do. small ones at that, but still they're doing that. They're moving in that direction. So it was very gratifying to see where they have come to. I hadn't gotten a notice for membership, but I found the form there and renewed my membership with them again, and look forward to being more timely in knowing what it is that they're working on. We're talking again about a potential museum, and we'll sit down and see where we can go with that. And hopefully something will materialize for the township, for for tourism, as well as for our children at the schools. So that was very, very encouraging. I just wanted to touch base about a resolution that will be coming up at the next meeting, having to do with the Dreamers. If you recall, there is a movement afoot to take away their ability to stay in this country. And I know that a lot of people feel very unhappy about that, because these are young people who came to this country with their parents, grew up here, and have now the potential of being deported to a country that they don't know. They don't even, probably know the language. Maybe they've learned it at home, but it would be a total loss for this country. Not only that, let me just share a few statistics with regard to New Jersey. Right now, the Immigration Services has identified about 22,000 New Jersey residents who would be affected by this. And these young people are strong contributors to our economy. It's estimated that 87% are working and contribute $66 million in state and local taxes each year. If DACA is repealed, tax revenues would be cut by 32%. Those are significant numbers. These are not people who are just loafing around doing nothing. They are hardworking. They are here, and I really believe that we need to support the fact that we want to encourage our government representatives to vote against any repeal of their citizenship. And that's everything. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sherman. Councilman Only-Jaka.
Mayor, I want to use this opportunity and privilege to thank people of Ward 3 for their massive support in the past election. If you look at the numbers, all the whole district are won in the whole district. And that is a massive support and encouraging. And at the same time, it shows me that my ward, they all like what I'm doing. And I promise them that I will continue doing what I'm doing. And I will do it best now. So I am very, very happy the way the election turns out in Ward 3. That is what little thing I have to say, so.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Kimberly Francois.
I too would like to congratulate our Councilman Charles Onye-Jaka, Councilman Ted Chase, Councilman Bassanella, Deputy Mayor Carl Wright, and Will Guterri, who will be, we're happy to have him on the council, but we're sad that we're going to be losing our dear, dear Councilwoman Rosalind Sherman. So congratulations to everybody that won the election. I also want to say that thank you, Mr. Bob LaCour, for organizing the Veterans Day celebration. I spent all of last week in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because my aunt died, and there was a huge tragedy in my family, so I didn't get back to be at that service. But in New Jersey, there's about over 435,000 veterans that live here. And we can't really see the wounds that they have and the challenges that they face and their families. So I think that we need to do everything in our power to support them and care for them when they return home from the service. And I want to say that we do appreciate their service, and we do appreciate everything that all the sacrifices that they've made for our country. So we do have two veterans on the council, our mayor, Phil Kramer, and our councilwoman, Chanel Robinson. Thank you very much for your service, and thank all the veterans for your service. And Mr. Johnny Tibbs back there raising his hands. Thank you so much, sir, for your service as well, and all the veterans that are out there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Rajiv Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I echo everything that Councilwoman Francois said about our veterans, and thank you to Bob LaCourte. You wouldn't be able to do anything without your wife's help, but and support. But we thank you for it. About the elections, thank you for voting. Is the most important role in a democracy, so we thank you for it. Congratulations to all the winners, and to the losers, thank you for running, and better luck next time. And as far as the DACA vote is concerned, to repeal, you know, I'm in full support of continuing DACA, as Councilwoman Sherman was saying. But, you know, we have to see what the ramifications are, but we have to let our elected representatives know how we feel about that. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Chanel Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, thank you, Bob LaCourte, for taking on the task of acknowledging the veterans this year. And as Councilwoman Francois said, the wounds are wounds that you cannot see. And it would behoove each and every one of us to make sure we acknowledge and recognize those veterans who fought and thought it not robbery to actually lay their life down so that the rest of us can have the freedoms that we have today. So it's just, I can't even put it into words. Even though I served well over 20 years ago, it still never goes away. Being away from your family, your loved ones, for such a length of time. But we do it without gripe or complain. I don't think I ever heard a soldier ever complain, even though the sacrifices that they've made. I've never known a soldier, an airman, a navyman. A Marine Corps. I've never heard anybody complain. How about you, Mr. Mayor? Anybody that, any of your battle buddies? I've never heard a soldier complain.
I complained all the time. No. Other than me, no.
Well, the Air Force has the best cooked meal, aside from a home-cooked meal. But again, thank you, Mr. LaCourte, and all your staff who helped out. I want to thank everyone for your love and support during this election season, even those that didn't vote for me. One thing about a leader, you must be a leader at all times with integrity, leadership, character, and I trust that beyond whatever party anyone belongs to, there's still work to be done. So just because I didn't win a seat, my work is not done, and I'm not going anywhere. So I will continue to press on and do what I need to do, regardless of winning a seat or not. So I just want to thank everyone for your love and support during this season. And I was not able to make the Veterans Parade or the Meadows Foundation because even in the midst of an election season, I was going to class, even though I've been dancing for over 10 years, and I completed a course in dance ministry. So I had a graduation on Saturday, so that's why I wasn't able to make it. And then on to my committee reports. So in fire prevention, we discussed and we wanted to make everyone aware, and that's why I have this fire extinguisher in front of me, that the federal government has recalled over 37 million Kidde fire extinguishers with plastic handles, with one death being reported. So we wanted to make the public aware that these plastic handles and plastic push buttons can cause harm. So The recall involves 134 models of Kidde fire extinguishers manufactured between January 1st, 1973 and August 15th of 2017, including some models that were previously recalled in March of 2009 and in February 2015. The extinguishers were sold in red, white, and silver and are either ABC or BC rated. The model numbers are printed on the fire extinguisher label. I don't know if the camera, but the model number is here. As well as 4 units produced in 2007 and beyond, the date of the manufacturer is a 10-digit date code printed on the side of the cylinder near the bottom, which would be here. So the digits 5 through 9 represent the day and year of the manufacture in 3-digit day, 2-digit year format. Date codes for recall models manufactured from January 2nd, 2012 through August 15th of 2017 are 00212 through 22717. And for units produced before 2007, a date code is not printed on the fire extinguisher at all. So, hope maybe we can get some links put up on
It's
our
already
website.
there. I didn't want to cut you off, Councilwoman, but if you go to the fire prevention page on our website, it's been posted since your meeting. And so all of that information that you just conveyed so beautifully is on the website as well.
Right. And can we provide a link to that website if they just go to the township website?
It's there. The Kitty Recall info link is on our fire prevention website.
Right. Can we have it on the township website, a link to the fire prevention, just in case people
No,
don't?
the fire prevention
Oh,
is
okay.
our
Gotcha,
township
gotcha,
fire
gotcha.
prevention department is
On
part of
the
our
township.
website. Yes.
Thank you. All right, so with all that being said, for those of you who are technically savvy, go to the fire prevention tab, and all the information that I just read and displayed to you can be addressed there. So at this time, I have nothing else, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we also put it on the crawler on FTTV, Mr. Manager?
So since my IT director is clearly watching TV right now, Justin, would you
Hello,
please put
Justin.
it on the TV? Thank you. He's texting me now, telling me it's all on the website.
Okay. And I'm sure no one's surprised that in the Air Force I complained. Mr. Chase, Dr. Chase, Council Dr. Chase.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the voters of the First Ward for returning me to the council. I guess I must be doing some things right. The people came out. I was informed that one of my neighbors up the street, who said he'd voted straight Republican for 27 years, but he went out and voted for me this time. So today I attended a meeting of the Middlesex County Water Resources Association. It's one of the more obscure things I do as a councilman, particularly because it's in Middlesex County, but that's where our sewage goes, and so they invite representatives of all of the towns in the area that, well, all of Middlesex County plus those parts of Somerset County that send their sewage to the MCUA Edward Patton Sewage Treatment Plant in Sayreville to join in these meetings, which are concerned with such things as sewer service area amendments and general water planning in their area. We used to have to send any changes we made not only to Somerset County but also to the Middlesex Water Resources Association, the Middlesex County Planning Board, and the freeholders in Middlesex County for approval because of this, but now we only have to send them to Somerset. But the reason I report on this is that today Kevin Aiello of the MCUA reported on their planning for the future for the Sayreville plant. They could handle 147 million gallons a day. They actually handle 138 million gallons. So they have to be concerned that they don't overcommit too many additional users. But he said that they had 10 major industries that fed directly into their lines without going through their municipal systems, and these accounted for as much as 50% of the load on the system. The load is what they have to take out of the sewage before they can discharge the treated sewage to the Raritan River. 5 of these industries have left, and the other 5 have greatly diminished the load that they put on the plant by pre-treating their effluent, so that what they treat now is much more a residential flow. And the MCUA keeps close track of all applications for new hookups, and that includes from Franklin Township. But to be sure that they're accurate in how much they're taking on, they subtract anything that's being replaced by the new construction. He gave an example of a new 22-unit subdivision, which was replacing 40 existing units, so it would be no increase in their load. I've recently met with Mark Healy, our planner, about the septic system management plan we will have to submit to Somerset County and through them to the Department of Environmental Protection. We agreed that we would try to educate the septic system owners to have their tank pumped out at least every 3 years, rather than passing an ordinance ordering them to do that. And we had ideas such as sending them a refrigerator magnet that they can keep around and write on it when they're next due to have their system pumped out, because it's hard to remember over a 3-year period. And last Wednesday, Manager Vornlacher and Carl Hauck and I met with representatives of New Jersey American Water. Assemblyman Danielson had called me saying that they wanted to make a presentation, and I followed protocol by meeting them only with municipal staff present, which of course means that our manager did most of the talking, which was fine, because basically he assured them that our water system and sewage system are doing just fine, and we are not interested in having them bought by New Jersey American Water. And finally, last Thursday, I went with Barbara Cuthbert of the task force on the compressor and representatives from South Brunswick, including Councilman Joe Camerota of South Brunswick, and we met with a number of representatives of the DEP about their permitting process. And Ms. Cuthbert has prepared a thorough report on this, which I'll be sending to the manager, and he can disseminate to the council if he thinks it worthwhile. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Dr. Councilman Chase. I guess it's now my turn, since our deputy mayor is not here. On the Kitty fire extinguishers, it took me a half an hour to figure out that site. It's not well set up. Councilwoman Robinson did a great job of explaining it. What part of the thing that it comes down to is if you have a metal handle, it's fine. If you have a plastic handle and it's straight, and the thing that you pull out, the safety that you pull out, is horizontal, you're fine. But for all others, and for the ultimate thing, either go to the website or you probably save time by just calling. But I have 4 fire extinguishers, and one of them was faulty, and it looks like they'll be supplying me with another and taking care of the old one. So it's well set up, at least the way it will get rid of the fire extinguisher. As for the elections, again, congratulations to all of those who won. I am very upset that Mr. Potasnik lost. I think he was a incredible asset to the Board of Education and to the town. I'm not taking away from any of the people who won, despite, or that won instead of him. But I think he's going to be sorely lost, sorely missed. Again, congratulations to Mr. LaCourte. And I do have a habit after elections, I do talk about some of the things that some of the candidates said. I don't talk about it during the election because I won't use FTTV or this microphone to publicize my political point of view during an election. But there was a website of a second ward candidate who it just had incredible amounts of misleading information. I won't go through all of them. I did chronologue. I did write them all down, and it took up 3 pages. So two of them were just incredibly factually wrong that I thought I'd point them out. So according to the website the pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes, is a one-time payment, and he was against that because we were losing taxes. The pilot program is a yearly payment, and the town makes an incredible amount of money over what they would have made had they not given it. He was very much in favor of grants for or tax incentives for businesses. That's what the pilot program is. I don't know why he was particularly against that one. And we do use it sparingly in town. There's particular rules about how we can use it. The other thing he did not like was the amount of cash that we have on hand in the town. He stated that we had 25 million. That's approximately right. But what he stated was that Moody's and Standard & Poor's recommended that you have 10% of your annual budget. Our annual budget is $60 million, so 10% would be $6 million. So according to him, we were well over. I actually was able to look up what what Moody's recommended, and they recommended that you have 45% for someone with our bond rating, actually 46% with someone of our bond rating of AA+, which would give you about $28 million. So we're right in the ballpark of what we should have according to the rating agencies. There are many more errors, but I won't bore you with them. Anyone wishes to hear them, I'd be happy to discuss them at length. And we are now ready to hear from the report from the manager.
Actually, thank you, Mr. Mayor, but I think all of the things that I would have reported have been reported by others before me, so I have nothing to report.
Excellent. Council discussion items. This is time for the clerk, the proposed 2018 Township Council meeting schedule. Very exciting.
Okay, unless I hear otherwise, I'm assuming that the reorg is January 1st?
Yes.
'Cause usually it's every other year.
I spoke to Mr. Gualtieri, who, since he's the newcomer, I think should have precedence. That's just my opinion. Other council members could step in, and he said, yes, he would like to be sworn in on the 1st.
Okay. And usually it's at 2 p.m., which is what I proposed. The 2018 schedule includes the public hearing dates like we did last year, the first Tuesday, the second Monday, and with the possible third meeting on the third Tuesday. Proposed is the Board of Health meeting being the same as the second meeting in June as last year. And the only days that it doesn't fall on a second or fourth Tuesday is September. I moved it to the 10th, which is the day before, because Tuesday is September 11th, and usually everybody goes to different 9/11 services that evening. And November Because of the league, I moved it to Thursday, November 8th. So that's proposed, so now it's up to you guys.
Does anyone have any comments? Seeing no comments, do you want to vote, or?
Nope, I prepare a resolution and you adopt it formally at the next meeting.
I think I would remember that from the years past, but I didn't. So, okay, unless anyone has any other comments, we're moving on to approval of the minutes. I present the following minutes for approval by the Township Council, by the Township Council, and that is the Township Council Work Session, regular meeting, October 24th, 2017, at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion on the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Do I have any discussion or correction of the minutes? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Item number 11, approval of the warrants in the amount of $11,752,719.24 on November 13th, 2017 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, any questions for the manager? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
The next item is item number 12, public hearing and adoption of ordinances on second reading. These are ordinances that have been read once before to the town at a council meeting in order to announce the ordinance and to announce that we'll have a public session on them. We'll now have public sessions on them for final vote and passage or not passage. First is ordinance 4213-17, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of real property by and in the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, appropriating $10,194,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $5 million bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. A public hearing has been noticed as required and in order for public hearing and adoption. So it's time for a public hearing. Do we have a motion?
Motion for public hearing.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on public hearing? I seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The meeting is open for public discussion on this item only.
Mr. Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I make a motion we close this portion of the public session.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public portion is closed. The word "it" was missing from the sentence above. Okay. Do we have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So basically, this is the bond to pay for the acquisition of Consolata, a portion of the acquisition of Consolata. Any other discussion?
It's actually the entire portion to be funded from open space funds, a portion of which is a bond and a portion of which is cash from the trust.
Yes, thank you. As was explained last time. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
And now is the amount of, we are going to discuss the amount of money that will be paid out of the township coffers not using open space funds. Ordinance 4214-17, bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of real property in and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, appropriating $3,896,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $3,710,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Public hearing has been noticed, and as required, and it's just not a sentence, and it in order for public hearing and adoption.
Motion for public hearing.
Seconded.
You gotta fix that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now open for public session. Is in order.
Mayor, seeing no one come forward, I make a motion, we close this portion of the public
Seconded.
session.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded as we get the grammar correct on the motion. All in favor of closing public sessions, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are now, I would now invite a motion on the item.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the item? No. Mr. Chase?
I just want to ask the manager, at what point do we subdivide the property to make it clear what part is subject to Green Acres restrictions and what part isn't?
We will never subdivide it. This will be defined in the deeds and not done by subdivision, much
Well-
like Catalpa was done. It's already done. These ordinances include all of the survey meets and bounds for all of
That's
them.
right, they
Yes.
did, I remember when we saw them
Yes,
last
they're
meeting.
all there as attachments to the ordinance. So we figured that was a lot easier and a lot more expeditious
Yeah.
than doing it by
Now,
sub.
by saying subdivide, I
You mean
meant
what I
to
just said.
imply any way that we made them into two different lots, including the way you described.
So we did that, and we
Yeah.
had that prepared for the bond ordinances.
Right, so we're covered.
We are.
Don't want to have what happened with the Kingston School
No.
happen again.
So do we, any other discussion? Sorry. Roll call.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
Thank you. That is a wonderful thing we're doing. We're going to see a lot of great things used on that property. Hopefully, the Board of Education will benefit from this, plus a YMCA, and preservation of some farmland, in my opinion. So now for ordinances on introduction and first reading. So the first ordinance is 4215-17 ordinance repealing capital ordinance number 4172-17 adopted by the Township Council of the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, New Jersey on February 14, 2017, entitled Cabinet Ordinance Providing for the Payment and the Purchase Price of Real Property and by the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, appropriating $14,090,000, therefore to pay the cost thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, November 28th, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion?
Motion for introduction.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. So,
I thought we introduced this last time.
yes.
No, at our last meeting, we actually adopted a resolution repealing the ordinance, and the next morning, I spoke to our bond counsel
And deciding not wanting to go to jail.
and expressed to him that I believe that an ordinance could only be repealed by an ordinance and not by a resolution, and he concurred, and thus you have this ordinance.
Okay.
So that was a
I
resolution.
knew there
for
was an
those-
explanation.
And just to be clear, does it matter that we have just passed the other bond ordinance before we are repealing the other
No,
one?
it does not, and I spoke to him about the timing of this transaction, because as you know, the two ordinances that you just adopted actually replace this ordinance, and the answer is no. You're essentially just canceling this appropriation on the record, and you can do it by ordinance, and it's not a problem.
it was explained to me, it's more about end-of-the-year paperwork than about.
Correct.
actual. So, any other discussion on this item? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois.
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Great, we're moving on to ordinance 4216-17, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Article 3, Revenue and Finance, Section 5-24, Procurement of Goods and Services. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, November 28, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. To start the discussion, so for quite some time in Franklin Township, if the manager wanted to spend money without consulting counsel, he could do that. The manager, for those who don't know it, runs the day-to-day of operations. We are more kind of the board that tells him policy and what we want done, and he gets it done. And obviously, he shouldn't have to come to us for every dollar he spends. That would not be efficient. So a while ago, several years ago, the Township Council said, well, do whatever you want below 85, not whatever you want, but within limits, below 8,500. Right. As long as it's below $8,500. State law really dictates this anything below $17,500. So the council at one point, how many years ago, Mr. Manager?
It was in the early 1990s, so about 27 years ago or so.
Right. So 27 years ago said we want to be a little tighter with this, and they set the 8,500 standard. So I did the math using the Consumer Price Index. That 8,500 now would come up to a little over $16,000. And Mr. Manager, what is your understanding of what other towns in the area do?
The state law dictates that anything over $17,500 go through a formal process, and that's the pay-to-pay threshold. So all of the documents to ensure that the purchase or contract award is within the state's procurement laws, that's the threshold currently at $17,500. The threshold, and this predates pay-to-play, but at one time the threshold was $8,500, and thus why we had that dollar figure attached to it many years ago.
So other towns are using 17.5?
The state law is 17.5, so the ordinary course of business in most municipalities would be to follow the state law, yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on the item? So, Madam Clerk, roll call to introduce.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
Ordinance 4217-17, an ordinance of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, and State of New Jersey, accepting a utility easement from Doublestone Holdings LLC for Block 34.05, Lot 50.01, in accordance with docket ZBA 16-00039. This is at Route 27 and Delar Parkway. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting, publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption on Tuesday, November 28, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Complex. Do I have a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this easement? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Mayor Kramer?
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Yes.
Councilman Prasad?
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman?
Yes.
We are now on to the consent agenda resolutions. Items A through R, as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
After we have a motion and a second, you may ask. We moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anyone wanting to ask a
Yeah,
question?
I have a question,
Councilwoman
Mr. Mayor.
Francois.
So, G, what is a towable oil jacketed hot pour crack sealer melter? What is that?
So that would be the thing that they tow behind a DPW dump truck to put all of that hot tar into the cracks in the road to seal them. It was part of the capital projects plan for 2018.
And it costs that much?
It costs that much to seal those cracks in the road, but by sealing those cracks in the road, we extend the life expectancy of the road, because then that prevents water from getting in underneath the asphalt and popping it up as potholes. So that's why we do it.
Alrighty, thank you.
And we budgeted for that, correct?
We did.
Just curious what
Yep.
it was.
Yep.
Thanks.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? Being none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Onijaka,
Yes.
Councilman Prasad,
Yes.
Councilwoman Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sherman.
Yes.
We have no items to be voted on separately. Old business, any nominations for 2017 boards, commissions, committees, and vacancies? We do have an application here from Linda Montgomery Williams for Human Relations Commission, and there appears to be an opening on the Human Relations Commission. Does anyone wish to nominate her?
I nominate Linda Williams.
Are there any other nominations for the same position? So this is the regular member for an unexpired three-year term ending December 31st, 2019. Hearing no other nominations for that position, we will vote by acclamation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Congratulations, Ms. Montgomery Williams. Any other nominations? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, before we go into executive session, may I say something?
Yes, certainly.
I usually don't take time at council meetings to talk too much about my law firm, but I am very proud to announce today that my partner, Craig Coughlin, was unanimously elected by the Democratic Party caucus in Trenton to be the next Speaker of the New Jersey General Assembly. And Craig is, as you know, he's a long-term assemblyman from Middlesex County, and it'll be good to have, as part of our team, the speakers here.
Good. That's great.
Yes. That is quite an asset to us.
It's good to know
Yes.
people in high places.
So we can talk through Mr. Renone and Johnny Tips. That was uncalled for, Mayor. I gavel myself. I am out of order and trying to find where we are. So now we're moving on to executive session, Resolution 17 -440. Authorize executive session personnel and land acquisition negotiations. 220 Bunker Hill Road is presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And
Second.
second? Moved and seconded, so all in favor of adjourning to executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We're now going to adjourn for executive session. There will be no business afterwards other than to adjourn the meeting. So the FTTV will sign off its recording now, and the meeting is essentially adjourned. Be well, Franklin.